Stop playing entrepreneur, Dad announced at Thanksgiving. It's embarrassing. Boo nodded. My brother laughed. I said nothing. The next morning, Fortune magazine SO of the Year cover appeared. My face. My $127 million cybersecurity company. Dad opened it at breakfast. The color drained from his face. But let me back up. Because this story doesn't start at Thanksgiving. It starts 7 years earlier when I was 23 years old and my father told me I was wasting my life. My brother Marcus was everything my parents wanted. Harvard MBA at 25. Investment banking analyst at Goldman Sachs by 26. Engaged to a lawyer from a good family by 28. He wore $1,000 suits and drove a leased BMW. He had the corner office, the prestigious title, the country club membership. I had a laptop and a dream. Rebecca, honey, when are you going to get serious about your career? Mom asked at Sunday dinner when I was 23. I just quit my third corporate job in 2 years. This time from a mid-level marketing position that made me miserable. I am serious, I said. I'm building something. Dad set down his fork. Building what? You've been building something for 6 months. You're living in a studio apartment. You drive a 10-year-old Honda. Marcus is making real money. Real progress. Dad, I'm developing cybersecurity software. The market is full of people with real credentials, he interrupted. You have a bachelor's degree in communications. What do you know about cybersecurity? I've been teaching myself to code for 3 years. I've been studying. Teaching yourself, Mom repeated, exchanging a look with Dad. Rebecca, that's not how the real world works. You need degrees, certifications, a proper job. Marcus smirked from across the table. Beck, I love you, but Mom and Dad are right. You're 23. It's time to grow up. Come work at the bank. I can get you an interview. Entry level, but it's a start. I don't want to work at a bank. Because you're too proud to start at the bottom like everyone else, Dad said. His voice had that edge I knew too well. Disappointment mixed with frustration. You think you're special. You think you can skip all the steps Marcus took and just, what? Become successful overnight. I'm not trying to skip steps. I'm taking different steps. Different steps, Dad repeated. Is that what we're calling unemployment now? I felt my face burn. I'm not unemployed. I'm working 16-hour days building. Building nothing, he said flatly. You're playing entrepreneur. It's embarrassing, Rebecca. When people ask me what my daughter does, what am I supposed to say? That you're unemployed and coding in your apartment. The words hit like a slap. Mom reached over and squeezed Dad's hand. A united front as always. We're just worried about you, Mom said, her voice softer but no less cutting. We don't want you to waste your 20s chasing something that's never going to happen. The technology industry is brutal. Do you know how many startups fail? 90%, I said quietly. I know the statistics. So why would you risk? Because I believe in what I'm building. Marcus laughed. Actually laughed. Beck, that's adorable. But belief doesn't pay rent. How much savings do you have left? 3 months. 4. That's none of your business. It becomes our business when you come asking Mom and Dad for money, he said. I would never. You might not have a choice, Dad said. And we're telling you right now we're not funding this fantasy. If you run out of money, you figure it out. You get a real job. We're not enabling this anymore. I stood up. My hands were shaking. I should go. Rebecca, sit down, Mom said. We're having a family dinner. No, you're having an intervention. And I don't need to be here for it. I grabbed my coat and left. Behind me I heard Marcus say, let her go. She'll figure it out when her savings run out. I sat in my Honda in their driveway for 10 minutes crying. Not because they'd hurt my feelings, though they had. But because a small, terrifying part of me wondered if they were right. I didn't talk to my family much over the next 18 months. Occasional texts. Brief phone calls when Mom pressed. But I stopped going to Sunday dinners. Stopped attending family events. I told them I was busy. Working. Building. They thought I was avoiding them out of pride. They were half right. The truth was I was building something extraordinary, and I couldn't risk them sabotaging it with their doubt. My software, Titan Shield, was a next-generation cybersecurity platform that used AI to predict and prevent attacks before they happened. Not reactive security. Proactive protection. I'd spent 3 years researching, coding, testing. I'd burned through my savings. Maxed out 2 credit cards. Lived on ramen and coffee. And then 20 months after that disastrous Sunday dinner, I got my first client. A mid-sized financial services company in Austin. They paid me $180,000 for implementation and a year of service. I cleared my credit cards. Signed a lease on a one-bedroom apartment in a better neighborhood. Bought business insurance. 6 months later I had 4 clients. Then 12. Then 27. By year 3, I had 140 clients and $8.3 million in revenue. By year 4 I incorporated. Hired my first employees. 6 brilliant engineers I'd met in online coding communities. We worked out of a shared office space in downtown Seattle. We ate pizza at midnight and celebrated every new contract like we'd won the lottery. My parents had no idea. Marcus knew I was still doing my little tech thing. That's what he called it when we spoke twice a year. How's your little tech thing going, Beck? It's going well, I'd say. Well enough to pay rent? He'd ask, that condescending tone dripping from every word. Well enough. He didn't ask for details. Neither did Mom or Dad. They decided years ago that my business was a failure and nothing I said would change their minds. So I stopped trying to convince them. I just kept building. By year 5, Titan Shield had 220 clients, $47 million in annual revenue, and 120 employees. We'd moved into our own office building. A renovated warehouse in Seattle's tech corridor with exposed brick, standing desks, and a kitchen that would make most restaurants jealous. I hired a CFO. A chief technology officer, a VP of sales. I brought on a PR firm to start building our brand presence. I invested in research and development, pouring money into innovation that would keep us 5 years ahead of competitors. And I kept my mouth shut about all of it. My family still thought I was struggling. Still thought I was playing entrepreneur, in some sad, delusional way. And I let them think it. Because by then I'd realized something important. Their doubt had been fuel. Every dismissive comment, every condescending question, every time they compared me to Marcus, it had pushed me to work harder, think smarter, build better. I wasn't hiding my success out of spite. I was protecting it. My chosen family knew everything. My employees knew they were building something revolutionary. My business partners, the venture capital firm that had invested $12 million in year 4, knew we were on track to be worth $500 million within 3 years. The tech journalists who'd started covering us knew Titan Shield was changing the cybersecurity industry. But my parents, they knew nothing. How's work, honey? Mom would ask during our quarterly phone calls. Busy, I'd say. Lots of projects. Are you making enough to live on? I'm doing fine, Mom. Because if you need help, we can. I don't need help. Silence. Then, you don't have to be so proud, Rebecca. There's no shame in asking for support. I'd bite my tongue and change the subject. In September of year 7, I got an email that changed everything. Subject: Fortune Magazine CEO of the Year nomination. Dear Ms. Chin, on behalf of Fortune Magazine, I'm pleased to inform you that you've been nominated for our annual CEO of the Year award. Your company, Titan Shield, has been recognized for exceptional growth, innovation, and industry impact. We'd like to schedule an interview and photo shoot for our December issue. The awards ceremony will be held in New York City on November 15th. I read the email 3 times. Then I called my CFO David Martinez. Did you nominate us for something? The Fortune thing? Yeah, our PR firm submitted the application back in June. I didn't think we'd actually get nominated. But this is huge. Do you know how many CEOs apply for this? How many? Over 3,000. And they pick 25 finalists. We're in the top 25 tech companies in the country. I sat down. My hands were shaking. When's the ceremony? November 15th. 3 weeks before Thanksgiving. Of course it was. The Fortune journalist was a woman named Patricia Hammond, mid-40s, with sharp eyes and a recording device she set on my desk like a weapon. Let's start with the basics, she said. Titan Shield was founded 7 years ago. You were 23. No technical degree. No business background. What made you think you could compete in one of the most competitive industries in the world? I didn't think I could compete, I said honestly. I knew I could win. She smiled. That's a bold statement. It's an honest one. I spent 3 years preparing before I signed my first client. I learned to code, studied the market, identified the gaps nobody else was filling. By the time I launched, I wasn't competing. I was innovating. Your revenue growth is extraordinary. $8 million in year 3. $47 million in year 5. $127 million projected for this year. How did you scale so quickly? Two things. I hired people smarter than me and I never stopped improving the product. Every dollar we made went back into development or talent. I didn't pay myself a real salary until year 4. What did you live on? Ramen. Coffee. Stubbornness. She laughed. Your family must be proud. I paused. They don't know. I'm sorry. My family doesn't know about Titan Shield's success. They think I'm still struggling. They think I'm playing entrepreneur. Patricia's eyebrows rose. Why? Because 7 years ago they told me I was wasting my life. They told me to get a real job. They compared me to my brother who works in investment banking and who they consider the successful one. And I decided I didn't need their validation to build something extraordinary. But surely they know you're doing well now? They know I'm still doing my tech thing. They don't ask for details. I don't volunteer them. Patricia leaned forward. Chin, do you realize your story is going to be the cover feature? My stomach dropped. The cover. December issue. The Secret CO. How she built a $127 million empire while her family thought she was failing. It hits newsstands on November 29th. 4 days after Thanksgiving. The invitation came via group text in early November. Mom, Thanksgiving at our house this year. 4 p.m. Please confirm attendance. Marcus, Emily and I will be there. Can we bring anything? Mom, just yourselves. Mom, Rebecca? I stared at my phone. I hadn't been to a family Thanksgiving in 4 years. I'll be there. Mom, wonderful. It will be so nice to have everyone together. Marcus, Beck, you bringing anyone? Just me. Marcus, still single? You've got to make time for dating, Beck. All work and no play. I didn't respond. David walked into my office. You okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. I'm going to Thanksgiving at my parents' house. The parents who don't know you're on the cover of Fortune magazine? Those would be the ones. Beck, the issue hits newsstands the Friday after Thanksgiving. You're going to be there on Thursday. They're going to see it the next morning. I know. Are you going to tell them before? I thought about it. About 7 years of dismissive comments and condescending questions. About being compared to Marcus at every family gathering. About my father's voice saying, "It's embarrassing, Rebecca." No, I said. I'm not going to tell them. You're just going to let them find out when the magazine drops? That's exactly what I'm going to do. I arrived at my parents' house at 3:55 p.m. The same suburban colonial where I'd grown up. The same perfectly manicured lawn. The same wreath on the front door. Marcus opened it before I could knock. Beck. Long time no see. He looked exactly the same. Expensive suit replaced with expensive casual wear. The same confident smile. The same way of looking at me like I was a child playing dress up. Hi, Marcus. Come in. Emily's inside. You remember Emily? Of course. Emily was Marcus's wife. They'd married 2 years ago in a wedding that cost more than most people's houses. She was beautiful, accomplished, and had never been anything but polite to me in that way people are when they feel sorry for you. Mom appeared from the kitchen. Rebecca. You made it. He hugged me. Over her shoulder I saw Dad in the living room reading the newspaper. Hi, Mom. You look thin. Are you eating enough? I'm eating fine. Biz, you work too hard. I worry about you working all hours barely taking care of yourself. I'm fine, Mom. Really? We moved into the living room. Dad lowered his newspaper. Rebecca. Dad. How's work? Busy. Still doing the tech thing? Still doing the tech thing. He nodded and went back to his newspaper. Conversation over. Marcus handed me a glass of wine. So, Beck, tell us about your life. What's new? Not much. Working. The usual. Making ends meet? He asked, that familiar condescension creeping in. I'm doing fine. Because, if you ever need help, financial advice, job connections, I'm happy to help. That's what big brothers are for. I smiled. Thanks, Marcus. I'm good. Dinner was exactly what I expected. Mom asked about my apartment. Dad asked if I was still living in Seattle. Marcus talked about his latest promotion. Senior vice president now, managing a team of 30 analysts. Emily shared news about her law firm partnership track. And I said as little as possible. Rebecca, are you seeing anyone? Emily asked over dessert. Yo. You should try the apps. That's how my sister met her husband. I'm too busy for dating right now. Marcus laughed. Beck, you've been too busy for 7 years. At some point you've got to make time for a personal life. I have a personal life. Do you? Or do you just work all day on your little startup? There was. Little startup. I took a breath. I have a full life, Marcus. Just because it doesn't look like yours doesn't mean it's not fulfilling. I'm not criticizing, he said, hands up. I'm just saying you're 30 years old. Most people your age are thinking about marriage, kids, building a future. You're still playing entrepreneur. Mom touched my hand. He's not wrong, honey. We worry about you. You've been doing this for so long and we just wonder. When are you going to settle down? Get a stable job? Start thinking about your future. This is my future. Dad set down his fork. Rebecca, I'm going to be blunt. You're 30. You've been chasing this dream for 7 years. At what point do you admit it's not working and try something else? It is working. Then why do you still drive that old Honda? Why do you live in a one-bedroom apartment? Why don't you ever talk about success or growth or any of the things successful people talk about? Because I don't need to prove anything to you, I thought. But I didn't say it. I'm comfortable with where I am, I said instead. Marcus shook his head. Beck, that's loser talk. Comfortable. Successful people don't aim for comfortable. They aim for exceptional. And you think I'm not exceptional? I think you're stubborn. I think you're wasting your potential because you're too proud to admit this isn't working. I stood up. Thank you for dinner, Mom. It was lovely. Rebecca, sit down, Dad said. His voice had that commanding edge. The one that used to make me obey when I was a kid. I stayed standing. Sit down. Dad, I'm not 12 years old. If I want to leave, I'll leave. We're trying to help you, Mom said. Her eyes were wet. Why are you being so defensive? Because you're not trying to help me. You're trying to convince me I failed. And I haven't. Haven't you? Dad asked. You're 30. You've spent 7 years on this and you have nothing to show for it. I have everything to show for it. You just can't see it because you've already decided I'm a failure. Then show us, Marcus challenged. Show us the big success. Show us the clients, the revenue, the growth. Prove us wrong, Beck. Almost did. Almost pulled out my phone and showed them the Titan Shield website. The client list. The press coverage. The Forbes email sitting in my inbox. But I didn't. I don't need to prove anything to you, I said quietly. I stopped needing your validation a long time ago. That's what failures say, Marcus said. I grabbed my coat. Goodbye. Rebecca. Mom called, but I was already out the door. I sat in my Honda, my paid-off, perfectly reliable Honda, and breathed. My hands were shaking. Not from anger. From something else. Relief maybe. Or vindication. Because in less than 24 hours they were going to learn the truth. And I wasn't going to be there to see it. I woke up at 6 a.m. on Friday. Couldn't sleep. I made coffee and opened my laptop and pretended to work, but really I was just waiting. The Fortune issue was scheduled to hit newsstands at 7 a.m. At 7:15 my phone started buzzing. David, it's out. Beck, you're on every newsstand in America right now. My PR director, CNN, is calling. So is Bloomberg. The Today Show wants you next week. My CTO just bought 5 copies. You look like a badass on that cover. At 7:47 I got a text from someone I didn't expect. Emily, Marcus's wife. Emily, Rebecca. I just saw Fortune magazine. I need to call you. My phone rang 30 seconds later. Rebecca. Hi, Emily. Is this real? Fortune CEO of the Year? Titan Shield? $127 million company. It's real. Silence. Then, Rebecca, I'm so sorry. For what? For everything. For how we treated you last night. For how Marcus talked to you. We had no idea. None of us had any idea. I know. Why didn't you tell us? Would you have believed me? More silence. I don't know. That's why I didn't tell you. He's reading the article right now. Rebecca, he looks like he's going to be sick. Tell him to keep reading. There's a great quote in there about family doubt. What are you going to do? Nothing. I'm going to my office. I have work to do. Rebecca. Emily, I need to go. Thank you for calling. I hung up. At 8:02 Mom called. I didn't answer. At 8:15, Dad called. I didn't answer. At 8:33 Marcus called. I didn't answer. The texts started piling up. Mom, Rebecca, please call us. We just saw Fortune magazine. Dad, we need to talk. Call me immediately. Marcus, Beck, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. Please call me back. Marcus, Beck, seriously. I'm an idiot. I'm so sorry. Marcus, I told Emily I'm taking you to dinner to apologize. Name the place. I silenced my phone and went to work. They showed up at my office on Monday morning. All three of them. My executive assistant Jordan called me. Rebecca, your parents and brother are in the lobby. They don't have an appointment. Tell them I'm busy. I did. Your father said he's not leaving until you see them. I closed my eyes. Of course he did. Send them up. 2 minutes later they walked into my office. The office with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seattle. The office with my name on the door. The office with the Fortune magazine cover framed on the wall behind my desk. Mom's eyes went straight to it. She put her hand over her mouth. Dad just stared. Marcus looked at the awards shelf. The Forbes 30 Under 30 plaque. The TechCrunch Disrupt Trophy. The Cybersecurity Innovation Award from the Department of Homeland Security. Beck, he said quietly. It's Rebecca, I corrected. Nobody calls me Beck here. Rebecca. He swallowed hard. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. For which part? I asked. For calling my company a little startup? For telling me I was playing entrepreneur? For suggesting I was a failure? Be specific, Marcus. I want to know exactly what you're apologizing for. For all of it. For everything. I was wrong. I was so wrong. Dad stepped forward. Rebecca, we had no idea. You had no idea because you never asked. You decided I was failing and then stopped looking. You never told us, Mom said. Her voice was shaking. You never said anything about this. Would you have believed me if I had? I asked. Would you have believed that I was building a $127 million company when I was living in a studio apartment and driving my old Honda? Or would you have told me I was delusional? Silence. That's what I thought, I said. Dad's face was red. This isn't fair, Rebecca. You deliberately hid this from us. I protected it from you, I corrected. There's a difference. Protected it? We're your family. You're the people who told me I was wasting my life. You're the people who compared me to Marcus at every opportunity. You're the people who made it very clear that my dreams were embarrassing to you. We were worried about you. No, you were embarrassed by me. There's a difference. Marcus sank into one of my guest chairs. Beck, Rebecca, I don't know what to say. I've spent 7 years thinking you were struggling. Thinking I was the successful one. Thinking I was better than you. You were never better than me, Marcus. You just had more approval from Mom and Dad. That's not fair, Mom protested. We love you both equally. Do you? Because for 7 years, Marcus was the golden child and I was the disappointment. For 7 years, you used him as the standard I couldn't meet. For 7 years, you dismissed everything I was building as a fantasy. Because you never showed us anything different. Dad said. You lived like you were barely getting by. I lived like someone who reinvested every dollar into her company instead of spending it on luxury cars and expensive apartments to impress people who didn't believe in her anyway. The words hung in the air like smoke. Mom was crying now. Rebecca, please. We made mistakes. We were wrong. But we're here now. We want to support you. I don't need your support anymore. I have 287 employees who believe in me. I have investors who trusted me with their money. I have clients who bet their security on my technology. I have friends who celebrated every milestone with me. I built this without you. And I don't need you now that it's done. That's cruel, Dad said. Is it? Or is it honest? Marcus stood up. What can we do? How can we fix this? I looked at him. My brother. The golden child. The one who'd always had everything I wanted. Our parents' pride, their approval, their belief. You can't, I said quietly. You can't fix 7 years of dismissiveness with one apology. You can't undo the damage by showing up now that I'm on the cover of Fortune magazine. You can't earn my trust back by being impressed with my success when you were disgusted by my struggle. So that's it? Dad asked. You're just going to cut us out? I'm going to do what I've been doing for 7 years. I'm going to focus on my work, my team, and the people who actually believed in me. You three are welcome to be happy for me from a distance. But you don't get to be part of this. You don't get to claim credit. You don't get to tell people your daughter is the CEO of Titan Shield. You don't get to bask in reflected glory when you tried to extinguish the light in the first place. Mom sobbed. Rebecca, please don't do this. I'm not doing anything, Mom. I'm just declining to let you do something. There's a difference. My phone buzzed. Jordan, your 10 a.m. is here. I have a meeting, I said. You need to leave. Rebecca. Goodbye. They left. All three of them. Defeated. Devastated. Finally understanding what it felt like to be dismissed. I sat down at my desk and breathed. Then I smiled. The story exploded. By Tuesday, Titan Shield's website traffic had increased 4,000%. We had 1,200 new client inquiries, 3 acquisition offers, 17 interview requests from major media outlets. I did 6 of them. Every single interview asked about my family, about the secret I'd kept, about the relationship between doubt and determination. Your parents didn't know about your success, the CNN anchor said. How did that feel? Freeing, I said honestly. I didn't build Titan Shield to prove them wrong. I built it to prove myself right. Their doubt was just background noise. But surely you wanted their approval? When I was 23. Yes. When I was 30 and had built a $127 million company. Well, by then I'd learned something important. You don't need approval from people who don't believe in you. You need support from people who do. The interview went viral. 3.2 million views in 48 hours. My phone kept buzzing with family texts. Aunt Karen. Rebecca, I always knew you were special. Uncle Tom, so proud of you. Let's catch up. Cousin Michelle. My CO cousin. Can I tell people we're related? I didn't respond to any of them. The only family text I answered was from Emily. Marcus is devastated. He really is sorry. Is there any chance you'll talk to him? Me maybe someday. Not today. 2 weeks after the Fortune article I got a call from Dad. Rebecca, I need to tell you something. What? I've been getting calls. From colleagues, friends, people at the club. Everyone's asking why I never mentioned my incredibly successful daughter. Why I never said you were CEO of a major tech company. What do you tell them? Silence. Then, I tell them I'm a fool. Dad. No, Rebecca. Let me finish. I was wrong. About everything. I dismissed you because you didn't follow the path I understood. You didn't get an MBA. You didn't climb a corporate ladder. You built something new and I couldn't see it because I was too busy comparing you to what I thought success should look like. Why are you telling me this? Because I need you to know. I'm sorry. I'm truly deeply sorry. And I understand if you never forgive me. But I need you to know that I see you now. I see what you built. I see what you sacrificed. And I'm in awe of you. My throat tightened. It's not enough, Dad. I know. You can't just apologize and expect everything to be okay. I know that too. But I hope someday you'll give me a chance to earn your trust back. Not as someone who's impressed by your success. As someone who should have believed in you when you were struggling. I didn't say anything. I love you, Rebecca, he said quietly. I always have. I just wasn't very good at showing it. He hung up before I could respond. Marcus tried a different approach. He sent me an email. Subject, I'm sorry. Beck, Rebecca. I've started this email 30 times and deleted it 30 times. Nothing sounds right because nothing can sound right. There's no way to apologize for 7 years of being a condescending asshole. But I'm going to try anyway. I was wrong. About everything. I convinced myself that my path was the only path to success. Corporate job. Traditional markers of achievement. I looked at you and saw someone who was refusing to follow the rules and I judged you for it. The truth is I was jealous. You had courage I never did. You bet on yourself. You built something from nothing. You took risks that terrified me. And instead of admiring you for it, I belittled you. I made myself feel better by making you feel small. I'm ashamed of that. I'm ashamed of the person I was at that Thanksgiving dinner. I'm ashamed of every time I called your work your little tech thing. I'm ashamed that it took a Fortune magazine cover for me to realize that you were always the exceptional one. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I want you to know that I'm working on being better. Emily's been helping me understand where I went wrong. And I'm hoping that someday when you're ready we can talk. Really talk. Not as the golden child and the disappointment. But as equals. Because you're not just my equal, Rebecca. You're my superior. In every way that matters. I love you. I'm sorry. And I'm proud of you. Marcus. I read it 3 times. Then I closed my laptop and went back to work. The award ceremony for Fortune CEO of the Year was held in February at a Manhattan hotel ballroom with crystal chandeliers and a guest list that read like a who's who of American business. I wore a black dress that cost more than my first month's rent 7 years ago. My team was there. David, my CTO, my VP of sales. 20 of us celebrating together. My parents and Marcus were not invited, but they showed up anyway. I saw them as I was walking into the ballroom, standing by the entrance. Nervous. Out of place in their formal wear, clutching programs like lifelines. Mom saw me first. Rebecca. I stopped. We weren't sure you'd want us here, she said. But we had to come. We had to see you accept this award. How did you even get tickets? This is invitation only. Marcus looked embarrassed. I know someone on the fortune board. I pulled some strings. If you want us to leave. I don't want you to leave, I said quietly. But I don't want you to be here as my family. Not yet. You haven't earned that. Dad flinched. Rebecca. You can stay. You can watch. But you're not sitting with me. You're not taking photos with me. You're not telling people you're my family. You're spectators. Nothing more. Mom's eyes filled with tears. We understand. Do you? Do you really understand what you cost me? Not money. Not success. But 7 years of having to build alone. 7 years of not having family support. 7 years of wondering if I was delusional because the people who were supposed to believe in me didn't. We're sorry, Marcus whispered. I know. And maybe someday that will be enough. But not tonight. Tonight is for the people who believed in me when I had nothing. Tonight is for my team. Tonight is for the investors who took a risk. Tonight is for me. I walked past them. David caught up to me inside. Was that them? Yeah. You okay? I'm perfect. And I was. When they called my name, Rebecca Chin, Titan Shield CEO of the Year, I walked onto that stage with 800 people applauding. I accepted the award from the Fortune editor-in-chief. I gave a 5-minute speech about resilience, innovation, and the importance of believing in yourself when nobody else does. I didn't mention my family. I mentioned my team, my investors, my mentors, the people who'd believed in me when I was nobody. And when I walked off that stage holding that award, I felt something I hadn't felt in 7 years. Complete. My relationship with my family is still complicated. We have dinner once a month now. Awkward, careful dinners where everyone watches what they say. Where Marcus doesn't talk about his job unless I ask. Where Mom doesn't give me advice unless I request it. Where Dad asks about my business like he's talking to a stranger. It's not perfect. Might never be perfect. But it's honest. Emily and I are close now. She apologized so many times I finally told her to stop. You weren't the problem, I said. You were just adjacent to it. Marcus is trying. Really trying. He asks about Titan Shield with genuine interest. He's reading about cybersecurity. He's learning to code, to understand your world, he said. He's becoming someone I might actually want as a brother instead of someone I'm obligated to call family. Dad retired early. He told me it was because he realized he'd spent 40 years chasing success and had missed what actually mattered. I don't know if I believe that. But I appreciate the sentiment. Mom cries a lot. At dinners. During phone calls. When she sees articles about me. I'm so proud of you, she says over and over. Like repetition will make up for lost time. It won't. But maybe, eventually it will be enough. Titan Shield is now worth $340 million. We have 420 employees. Offices in Seattle, Austin, and Boston. We're expanding internationally. We're innovating faster than our competitors can react. And I'm still driving that Honda. Not because I can't afford better. But because it reminds me where I came from. It reminds me that I built this empire from nothing. It reminds me that success isn't about impressing people who doubted you. It's about proving to yourself that you were right to believe. My phone buzzes. Text from Marcus. Sunday dinner at Mom and Dad's. You coming? I think about it. About whether I want to spend my Sunday evening navigating the careful dynamics of a family still learning how to treat me like an equal. Then I remember, I don't have to prove anything anymore. I'll be there. Because maybe, just maybe, that's what success really looks like. Not the magazine covers or the awards or the $340 million company. But the freedom to choose forgiveness. On your own terms.